we know that they would go on to achieve just immeasurable success in the tag team division. I mean, I think you could argue that the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys really breathed new life into the tag team division and created some WrestleMania moments and some real moments for the WWE universe that will echo in eternity. I mean, so many of those clips were seen in the opening and in all the packages for WWE for years and years and years. And there for a while, tag team wrestling was not really the priority in WWE. I mean, we went through that phase, before the generation before them, where it was like two big stars we just sort of throw together, whether it was Foley and Austin, or Foley and The Rock, or Shawn and Austin, or Owen and Bulldog. But the tag team acts before that, respectfully, were the Headbangers and the Godwins and the Body Donnas, and it wasn't a focus maybe like it had been with the British Bulldogs or the Hart Foundation or the Rockers or Demolition. But they really ushered in a new era of tag team wrestling and this high stakes stuff that we'd never seen before. I mean, certainly ECW existed. There had been ladder matches and tables and ladders and chairs and that sort of stuff used in a match before, but never at that high of a level with that level of an audience. And some of those stuff they pulled off is just legendary. And then they decide to do what everybody does. We at least try to push Jeff as a single star. I say everybody because it feels inevitable that, the Rockers are going to split up. The Hart Foundation is going to split up. The British Bulldogs are going to split up. That is the course that most tag teams follow. And we saw Jeff have some really iconic moments in that ladder match against The Undertaker as he's climbing the ladder and JR has that iconic call, "Go make yourself famous, kid." There's so much momentum there. And then he finds himself released in April of 2003. Now, just to give everybody context, TNA at that point is less than a year old. TNA started in June of 02. So here we are about 10 months later, and one of the top acts and somebody who is young and charismatic and over, he's available. Are you immediately in hot pursuit? Or do you feel like there's some other things you need to navigate before you feel comfortable bringing him in?
Kind of diving in, I'm just going to back up just a little bit because going back to we'll call it the early 80s of US, it wasn't called US, my father's promotion, Fabulous Ones, Rock and Roll Express. Sheep herders, there was my old man loved tag team wrestling. He thought the stories could be better. The WWE, I think, is much or more from a financial perspective because you want to pay two guys as opposed to four guys, and that's why tag pay was lower. And there, the tag team division just wasn't there. But I think the Road Warriors changed that. They were the trendsetters. They were in the territories. They got to Crockett, went national. Then there was, like you just said, Demolition, and then Powers of Pain. There was just, I don't say cookie cutter, but it even got into there's so many different tag teams, but they had kind of eased away in the mid 90s, like you said. And I think Matt and Jeff were not the first, but they were like the rock stars. They just kind of, Jeff had that vibe. That Jeff still has that vibe today as the whatever lead singer you want to throw out there. David Lee Roth. I mean, you could go in any kind of lead singer of a rock band. Jeff's always had that kind of charisma about him. And I can remember watching Monday Night Raw, Jeff climbing the ladder, the anticipation, and me thinking, there's no way Vince is going to do this. But God, wouldn't it be awesome if he did?
Yes.
And then I just, as the match ebbed and flowed, I just was thinking, damn, Taker, you're not just good, you're great. Because everybody in that arena, and even at Taker's peak heel persona, he still had the cool hit factor in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah, all this. But he was the heel, the antagonist, and man, they wanted Jeff to overcome that. Another little sidebar of this, Conrad, thinking of that run. I had a buddy of mine, and again, I'm in startup mode. We're doing one show a week, and so I'm immersed in is the business from a business perspective more so than I had probably ever been in my life. And I'm, WWE's the blueprint. A buddy of mine went to a Bowling Green house show / live event during this kind of run, Conrad, and they essentially said there was 6 to 8 SKUs of WWE merchandise and 8 to 12 SKUs of Jeff Hardy merchandise.
Wow.
Yeah. And that it just, yes, he was over, to go back to our thread.